doesn't have to be an in-depth, deep conversation. It could be a simple question over, dinner. Hey, I'm just wondering, what are we doing here? What's happening here between us, and are we kind of both seeing it in the same way?
She even said that she asked about it. She brought the conversation, and seems like the other person didn't take responsibility, didn't take accountability, and after that they went separate ways.
Hi, Mari. Cheers.
Hi, Gilza. Cheers to season 2.
Cheers to season 2. Welcome to Letters to My Therapist. This is so exciting for Maria and I, as we are starting our second season of answering your questions, your concerns, your challenges, and maybe sometimes, hopefully, some of your celebrations, as we talk about relationships, entering new relationships, all the things that happen while we're in relationships, and then if we decide that we have to exit relationships. So I'm so glad to be with you here again, Mari.
Yeah, me too. Here we are today with another letter. So tell me what you got.
Well, here we go. We have someone calling themselves unlucky. They said, "Dear Gilza and Maria, going through it right now. I started casually dating a guy that I've known for some years as an acquaintance. I've known him for some years as an acquaintance, and at the beginning of the year, after running into him at an event, we got intimate and continued going out. I thought things were going well, with the possibility of growing into more, until we were out one night as a group." So let me stop there, Marian. What comes to your mind so far?
Well, what she's mentioning is that this was like a casual connection that she has with this person, and then everything happened in an event that they met again, and so that initially the connection between them wasn't a connection that spoke about attraction, or nobody was pursuing the relationship. So that's what it's bringing. It's a beginning that is casual. So let's see then what happened.
What happens with that? So I thought things were going well, with the possibility of growing into more, until one night we were out in a group and he made a pass at a friend. We exchanged words about it, and then we backed away from each other a couple of months ago. But he's now in a relationship with someone that I'm sure he was seeing the whole time. I know I need to let it go, but I'm finding it hard to not dwell on it and replay what went wrong. Why is this so hard for me to move past?
Well, so definitely this person is having an emotional crisis in
Yeah.
the middle of this situation. And
Right.
that is the first thing that we want to validate, that breakups can be really hard on
Very
us,
challenging.
very
It can be hurtful.
challenging. Yeah, and so the beginning will be pay attention to you, pay attention to your emotional needs.
Right.
And when you're going through that, it's important to go to the basics. Make sure that you eat, make sure that you sleep, make sure that you take care of your basic needs, that make sure that you move, because when we move, all the chemicals that are called the happy chemicals, like the dopamine, the oxytocin,
Endorphins. Yeah.
all of that can be activated, and that will help you to get out of that crisis. So that's the first thing that I want to say. Acknowledge that. But then something happened there. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she had an expectation. She
That's
was
what it sounds like,
thinking
right?
that the
You were
relationship
thinking it
was
was
going.
something more than maybe was certainly ever discussed. As like she said, I thought it was going well and could grow into something else, right?
Yeah, but then he has this behavior of, making an approach to somebody else.
Uh-huh.
So, and she's shocked with that. But I'm wondering, did they ever discuss what were the boundaries, like
Right.
what type of relationship they were having?
Exactly. I'm thinking that from what she's saying to us, it's sounding like her surprise is about the fact that she didn't have those conversations. And this is kind of common, right, Madi? We see that where people kind of get to know each other and we make assumptions, right?
Mhm.
We have relationships and we think, okay, we're moving in this, we're seeing each other, we're hanging out, we're having communication, and that it may mean more than in actuality it means, right? So I think that's an important piece here, that the clarifying of our expectations are really important. Now, let me ask you this: when is the right time to ask those questions? When is the right time to how soon is too soon to have a conversation about where are we, or what are we doing, or what is this called?
Yeah, so there are no rules with that, and it's really like sensitive because sometimes people get a little bit ahead and too anxious and want to put names to their situations.
Right.
But on the other hand, you you have to get some clarity. If you start feeling that this is a relationship that I see some potential, don't let it sleep without really getting some clarification of the expectation, because she
Mhm.
was saying that they continue dating casually and she saw the potential,
Right.
but that was only her. And sometimes that happened, that we date the potential. And
Yes.
this is a situation that is very common. I have even personal experience in that. So, and what happened is when we do that and when we just trust what we see that this person could be,
Right.
we could be letting a situation go too far and too long, a
Right.
situation that really wasn't something that was going to become like a solid relationship. So I think as soon as you start having these ideas that you have some needs and you would like to see something happening with that relationship, it's okay that you put that in the table. It's
Right.
okay that you create some sort of
I
conversation
mean, I would
to
agree. It
see what
doesn't
the
have
other
to
person
be,
is.
right. It doesn't have to be an in-depth, deep conversation. It could be a simple question over, dinner. Hey, I'm just wondering, what are we doing here? What's happening here between us, and are we kind of both seeing it in the same way? And we don't know how much time went um happened in between when they right, when they reconnected, they got intimate, and then they went to have this situation with a group. So I don't know how much time went by, and that's why there isn't an exact number, right, about when is the right time to do. But I think you're right. I think the best way to do it is, what are you feeling? If you're feeling like there's more happening here and you're not sure what's happening between you and this person, it might be time for a casual um, conversation.
Yeah, but also, no matter if they had the conversation of no, something that is important to validate is in that social situation that they were, this person, his behavior wasn't respectful,
Mhm.
wasn't appropriate, because even if they didn't name the relationship,
Mhm.
they had some sort of
They had at least
intimacy.
an intimate part of
Yeah,
the
and they were
relationship,
seeing
right?
each other with certain frequencies. So
Mhm.
the fact that if you are in a social setting and this person behave in a way that doesn't represent you and is making advances in somebody else, definitely that's not a good predictor for the potential for a good
For
relationship.
a long, yes, that's a very good point, because either way, even if they weren't, the fact that they had been going out, I mean, to make a pass at a friend and in front of her definitely, isn't going to feel good, right?
Yeah, and she even said that she asked about it. She brought the conversation, and seems like the other person didn't take responsibility. They didn't take accountability, and after that they went separate ways. So
Mhm.
definitely that wasn't commitment to the relationship. That wasn't an
Right.
intention to repair. So that is information too. That's something that she has to consider.
Absolutely. And I think that that's part of her question, right? Why is this so hard to move past? Is because there really wasn't a sense of not only clarity in the expectations, but even in the, like, a closure. Whatever the words were that were exchanged were probably heated, right? And in the moment. And so they didn't really have an opportunity to have a little bit of a healing conversation. And then she finds out he's seeing somebody else again, a little bit of adding to the wound there, right?
Yeah, and there is this layer of possible betrayal,
Mm-hmm.
even though the agreements were not spoken, but
Right.
those are the assumptions that sometimes we have in relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're dating somebody, and people assume that it's gonna be faithful, it's
Right.
gonna be mutually monogamous. So those are the kind of things that we don't say, but we have those expectations, and we
Absolutely.
kind of like operate on those expectations.
Yeah.
Now she find out that he's already seeing somebody else, and she has the feeling, I don't know, what is the justification, and
Mm-hmm.
where did she get that idea
Mm-hmm.
that probably that was something that was going on. So that
Right.
hurt, because see, if that was really happening, so she feel betrayed.
Right. Right. Now, at the end of the day, what would we want to be able to recommend to her? What would we want to be able to say to her about looking at these kinds of situations in the future?
Yeah, well, first, like I started saying, like I think the number one goal will be recover her
Hmm.
emotional stability.
Right. So take care of
And
self, right?
acknowledging that she's going through a process that is a loss of a dream, because she had that expectation that this could have been. So just do a little bit of grieving with that,
Mm-hmm.
and take care of herself. It's
Mm-hmm.
important to take care of herself. Also check what are her standards.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how does she want to be loved? How
Right.
does she want to be considered and respected in a relationship? Maybe this experience will be an example of what you don't want in your life.
Right. And I think, lessons learned are always a good way to help us to heal, right? Is what, she started this casually. So maybe she's not a casual dater. And as you mentioned, once we get involved physically, intimately, for many of us, it doesn't become casual. It becomes, more emotional and more investment. So I think lessons learned could really be an important piece here of the taking care of herself, right?
Yeah, and for future relationships, then maybe she want to delay a little bit more that intimacy, or if the agreement, if the relationship start that way, making sure that you clarify before you continue getting like too involved. And
Mm-hmm.
I think the healing is very important here,
Uh-huh.
and then getting the lesson.
Right.
Okay, so in future relationships,
Mm-hmm.
what could be maybe red flags that she can learn from this, that she could take in consideration for future relationships?
And I
Because
think
we
that's
don't
a good,
know.
right, and that's a good point, right? Because otherwise we could get stuck on just the pain of having gotten involved, or I made a mistake, or I did something wrong, and then that becomes part of our all of our self esteem stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and also we don't know the behaviors. Like she only mentioned what happened that day,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm wondering, was this person behaving in any other way that give you an idea that he wasn't necessarily serious with the relationships, that maybe
Mm-hmm.
who he was playing with more than one person. Uh, so that will be important, like just checking what were
Mm-hmm.
things that you maybe ignore, maybe things that you didn't pay enough attention, but now that you see what is the real character of the
Mm-hmm.
person, you
Right.
can learn, so you can be more vigilant in the future
In the
to
future.
see if somebody really really has that potential that she was assuming.
So I think those are
um
good points, Monty, right? We want to be able to leave her with the idea of taking care of herself first, allowing herself to heal, and then really being able to draw the lessons from this. I think that the way for her to move on is, you know, recheck what is important to you, what are your expectations, draw, as you said, if there was some potential red flags here that she could look at, and then at the end of the day, right, do a little bit of forgiveness, right? A little bit of forgiveness for herself, for the situation, because that's the piece that I worry about for her, right? Is that she's able to not only forget about this, but really allow herself the forgiveness so that she can step into new relationships, right? With this knowledge.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't judge your ability to read people. Is that the situation was a little bit tricky,
Right.
and so just be compassionate to
Absolutely.
yourself. Yeah, and don't stop trying. Don't
Right.
stop trying.
That's at the bottom line. That's it. We all want to be in relationship with people and with others, and so we definitely have to be able to kind of heal our hearts and be able to be willing to step into new relationships. I think this is important for all of us, right?
Yes,
So I think those are
definitely.
our recommendations for today. We hope that this serves you and helps you or somebody that you know. And we look forward to seeing you in our next episode.
Yes, the next episode is gonna be about overthinking in new relationships.
Oh,
Don't miss it.
don't miss it. See ya.
See you.